What's up, guys? I'll be honest, I didn't expect to really make a sequel to the 416-year block video, but it turns out there are numerous counters in Paper Mario that the developers didn't limit. So here we go with another Paper Mario fun fact. This time we're gonna talk about ovens. Following the fight with Gourmet Guy in Chapter 4, there's a little segment where we play as Princess Peach, which requires us to bake a delicious cake for Gourmet Guy. It's not challenging by any means, but if you use the incorrect ingredients or cook it for an incorrect amount of time, Gourmet Guy will spit it out and send you back to bake him a half-decent cake. But the question is, how long do we really need to cook it for? Well, they tell you to cook it for 30 seconds in the cutscene dialogue. Obviously, they don't expect everyone to time it at exactly 30 seconds, so we discovered you have 690 to 1080 frames to take the cake out of the oven. Paper Mario runs at 30 frames per second on the NTSC and JP versions, and regardless of what release of the game that you're playing, this room doesn't have any lag. So we can divide these numbers by a clean 30 to get a range of 23 to 36 seconds. That's how long you have starting from the moment the ticking begins and ending when you press A to stop the timer. Stopping the oven when the counter is outside of that range will cause Gourmet Guy to question your cooking skills when you deliver him the cake. However, as I said earlier, the developers did not set a cap to many counters in this game, this one included. The number of frames you've left the cake in the oven is stored in the game's memory as an unsigned 4-byte integer, which means it can be a value within the inclusive range 0 to 4,294,967,295. Should the value continue increasing and exceed this limit, it will loop back to 0 and continue counting up after resetting. This is known as an integer overflow, which isn't really anything special, but it does mean that if you've baked the cake for, say, 4.3 billion frames, the game would incorrectly think you've only been cooking it for a little over 5 million frames. Remember, the maximum possible value in frames that the counter can reach is this number. Add 1 and divide that value by 30 frames per second, and we have the number of seconds until the overflow occurs, where the counter is set back to 0. If we continue to divide this number to simplify how much time we're working with here, we reach a value of approximately 4.5 years before the counter overflows. So if you leave the cake in the oven for that long, then wait another 23 to 36 seconds before taking it out of the oven, you can deliver the very overcooked cake to Gourmet Guy and he'll eat it with no complaints. If you didn't notice, I was waiting at the oven for longer than 36 seconds, yet Gourmet Guy enjoys my cake. This would have been impossible if the overflow didn't take place. Now what if we wait for it to overflow more than once? Again, the counter will reset back to 0, and Gourmet Guy will accept your cake even after cooking it for 9 years straight. This also means the cake will be considered delicious approximately 13.6 years after being left in the oven, 190,852 years, and so on. Another counter overflow can occur in Princess Peach's castle at the very beginning of the game. There's a cool little secret here where if you talk to this toad, he'll explain that he's guarding Princess Peach's room during her party. Talk to him 5 times and he'll give in and let you explore her room. There's nothing terribly interesting in there, but the counter that they use to track how many times you've spoken with a toad is glitched. If you speak to him from the left, he'll move towards the right after granting you access. For some reason, speaking with him 21 more times causes the counter to jump up by over 4 billion. Here we can witness a realistically achievable overflow, where the toad grants us access once again even though he already has. Then he'll just move to the left and the counter will cap off. By the way, if you speak with this toad from the right at the beginning, you might be surprised to learn that everything works as intended. Hopefully you guys found this video interesting. If you did, please consider checking out some of the links in the description to follow a few active Paper Mario glitch hunters, as well as those that helped verify and discover these obscure fun facts. Feel free to subscribe if you enjoy the content, and as always, thank you guys for watching.